This is Killjoy from Necrophagia, and I am blowing it up on Capital Chaos TV.
This is Todd Owens with Capital Chaos TV, and we're here tonight at the DNA Lounge in San Francisco with a couple of members from Necrophagia, Killjoy and Shawn. How you guys doing tonight?
Groovy.
Good.
So you're on this tour with Venom Inc. So maybe a little bit about how that came about and how's the tour going so far? I guess you guys are about a week into it.
In my opinion, it's going really, really good. My manager got a hold of us and just said that they personally requested we do the tour, and we were in the middle of writing a new record and just decided that this was something that we should do, and if it wasn't Venom or someone of that ilk, we probably wouldn't have stopped writing.
How's the tour been for you, Shawn?
Incredible. It's been awesome. Touring with heroes. I just loved Venom for a long time, and it's really good, really good.
All right. So you guys, you mentioned you started work on new material, so I guess it's been about 2 years since the last album, White Room Cathedral. So you're writing material, I guess, for the new album, right?
Yeah. I'm assuming probably now with this tour and some other tours coming up that we'll have a record out sometime middle of next year.
Are you still with Season of Mist, or have you moved on from them?
We're in a contract year, so we'll just see how it goes. We could either stay here or see what's out there. I'm always under the impression it's better to go with the devil that you know.
I agree. And I know didn't you work with James Murphy, produce the last album that you guys did, or?
No, he didn't.
Oh, bad. My mistake.
No, it wasn't a mistake at all. It was just a big cluster of unfortunate circumstances and not on our end. Other than that, I really don't want to say anything. We worked with Jamie Gomez Alarano, who did like Ghost. I can't even remember. A lot of really good bands, Cathedral, such.
I guess, Shawn, you're here. So how long have you been playing in the band?
I've been with Necro now for 5, going on 6 years.
2010.
Yeah, 2010.
And how did you enter into the band?
I've known Killjoy since the 80s, and would have actually been in the second lineup because of circumstances back then. It didn't work out.
But you've come full circle and you're back.
Yeah.
You started out back in the 80s, obviously, and now we're in 2016, I think, last time I checked. What's your thoughts on the metal in general, the extreme music scene now compared to then?
I think there's still a lot of interesting bands. I don't necessarily keep up with a lot of it anymore. It's just there's too much out there, and but every once in a while you hear a band that surprises you or catches you off guard. I like a band called Acid Witch that I've recently heard. Other than that, I still just listen to Morrissey, Smiths, old Slayer, old Venom, Frost, Hellhammer, Plasmatic, Sex Pistols. That's still my preference.
Any thoughts for you? State of metal today?
It's evolving so much, and there's incredible musicians out there. But for me, it's still in the 80s and 90s.
I was thinking today, it's interesting. You got, obviously, back in the 80s when you started out, it was kind of the height of the tape trading days, right? And so back then, I feel that's when I grew up, went to high school and stuff. You kind of had to like find out about stuff and hunt stuff down and stuff like that. And I don't know, just some thoughts on today. Now we're in the internet age where, you know, basically a kid at 12 or 13 can go on YouTube and pretty much find almost any song or band that's ever been there. So you had to work for it back in the day, but I don't know if you had any thoughts on tape trading versus where we're at now.
I think it was a lot more personal and a lot more special to get a package that you wait on and that you've already read about in fanzines. And now, like I said, there's so much at your disposal, at your fingertips, be it reviews or, you know, MP3s or YouTube videos that, you know, it's good and bad. You can learn about new bands at a much quicker rate, but I don't think you get a chance to really let them sink in as much. You know, you may hear one song as opposed to a whole demo tape, and the first song you hear, you may have been like, well, that's crap, but you keep letting a cassette or a CDR go, and it grows on you. But like I said, nowadays you click on an MP3 or a video, you don't like it, and you know, your tendency is to write it off very quickly.
Any thoughts, Shawn?
Back then it was a lot different, yeah. Like you said, the internet, now you can sample stuff. I used to go in stores and just look at the tape covers and pretty much, you know, pick. It was, yeah. So it's, today you have a lot more opportunity to check out a band on the internet as opposed to back then, you know, word of mouth and, you know, just taking a chance on buying something, you know.
I just wanted to ask you, Killjoy, you've obviously had a lot of other, sometimes people don't want to call them side projects, but other bands, I'll say, that outside of Necrophagia, and obviously you've worked with some, you know, illustrious people in the extreme metal scene, whether it's, you know, guys like Chris Reifert, Sad Air, Fenriz and stuff. Anybody stick out in your mind? Phil Anselmo, obviously, but any of those other bands kind of stick with you, or any of those musicians that you worked with?
It's always fun to work with Mirai. I mean, he was in Necro for a while, but we did Enoch, and we did some other projects that never really came out. Same with Casey Chaos of Amen. I love working with him. We've recorded some stuff. It's never came out. So
is Joey involved in that too?
Yeah. I haven't spoke with Joe. I've lost touch with so many people. You know, you change your phone and you don't enter in contacts, and it's just like it's lazy. Just like the internet. You know, you used to have a book and write down everyone's number, and there it was. You know, there forever. But now you just put it in your phone. Yeah. No, I don't even remember my own half the time. So, yeah, everything I've done for a reason. And I'd say the most special was probably working with Maniac of Mayhem and Vertilock.
Just wanted to go back to the first album, 1987. Thoughts 28 years later, Season of the Dead. And then also I had a question, because then you released an album after that, I guess, but I guess that album was actually recorded first, is that correct? Or yeah, so it was Season of the Dead, but Ready for Death came out in like 1990, but by then you guys had already kind of disbanded, right? So how did that come about, the first two albums?
Well, the first one was no more than a backlash at everyone doing the same thing. By then, everyone was doing just the rawest guitar sound, the sickest vocals, and the most primitive song structures, at least within the style of music we were doing. And I just didn't feel that the original Season of the Dead recording that you were speaking about represented where I wanted to go musically, lyrically, vocal style. I just became fed up. There was just not really any way to distinguish bands apart. I mean, it came in droves at a certain point. So we scrapped the first record and rewrote Season of the Dead, and my vocal approach was totally different. I just wanted something almost morbidly poetic, almost spoken word, like a storyteller. So the original recording was never supposed to come out, and somehow it got bootlegged and came out on vinyl and cassette.
Talked about writing new stuff, and I just wanted to ask a little bit about the writing process. Does it primarily start with you, or is it collaborate with all the band, or you bring stuff in, or how does that work for writing stuff for Necrophagia?
Usually it's just, it either starts with a riff or with, if I come up with a song title and I know how I want it to, sound. But essentially, for the last, 6 years, Shawn and I collaborate a lot, and we let whoever's in the band at the time, everyone can bring something to the table, and then many times it goes through a lot of different modifications. He may come up with a riff and say, what about this? And I'll say, well, try it like this, or vice versa, and it works really well.
back in the day when you guys your first incarnation of the band, did you do a lot of shows? Did you play a lot of shows? Did you play a lot of local shows? Did you do tours?
No, we didn't do very many at all. We were constantly just writing and doing hundreds and hundreds of interviews, and by the time we had a steady lineup, we recorded the first pass at the record, then the second pass at the record, and then literally broke up like 2 months after the record came out.
Had that hiatus, and then I guess it was about 8 years, and Phil came involved. Do you still talk to Phil, or?
I don't. I give him all the credit in the world because without him, I wouldn't be doing music anymore. The guy is.
You were doing Viking Crown with him, I guess, before that, or is it?
No, that
came
was
later.
Yeah. No, but you know, I have nothing against him personally, and it just, I think it was a rough period in his life. He was going through a lot, and you know, who knows? Maybe one day we'll talk. I mean, and life's too short to say never, but I don't see ever working with him musically, but to have a beer with a guy or smoke a joint or whatever, yep.
Anything else that you guys wanted to add? Any more? What else are your plans for the rest of the year? You got more touring plans after this, or any festivals or anything, or just back into the writing mode?
No. Well, when we go back, we're going to write heavily, but then we do a headlining tour of Europe at the end of April, and then we'll have the summer off to record the record. Then we go back. It's in the early stages, probably do some more U.S. dates with Venom in the early fall, maybe Europe, and then definitely South America with Venom. So that pretty much will take us to the end of this year.
When you're doing this headlining a Europe tour, do you know about other bands that are going to be with you, or do you have any say in that, or is it just basically you just go with what happens?
I would love to have Beharit and or Blasphemy, but that's my say-so in it. But whether they're available or not, I don't know. They asked me who I would like, and those were the first two names I threw out.